Hello, dear friends. I'm Marina from ourstars.net, and you're watching the next episode of How to Read the Birth Chart and Make Predictions with Astrology. These are special educational videos where I share with you concrete techniques and approaches which are helpful if you want to understand your chart better, or if you're learning astrology, or if you would like to explore your child's horoscope or another relative or close person's horoscope as well. Let me remind you also that we are having a special workshop about child-parent relationships on the 19th and the 20th of January 2019. You can find the link below the video if you would like to participate. This workshop is extremely helpful and will help you to understand your child better through the dominant element of his horoscope, through learning different element combinations within the chart. We are also going to talk about different child-parent relationships depending on the strong elements in their charts as well. Plus also the moon position, which is extremely important for children, and the relationship with the mother. Also aspects of the moon with the other planets, very important, and basically they show some major tendencies for the relationship as well. And I will share with you a very interesting approach, which is actually psychological theory for the different expressions of love. And based on certain astrological indications, I will show you which is the best way to demonstrate your love and affection to your child and make him feel supported and loved and appreciated. So it will be a very interesting, in-depth 2-day workshop where you have many things to talk about. There will be a Q&A session. You also have different options to participate. You can only join the workshop. You may also have a child's horoscope together with the workshop. And the third option is the workshop, child horoscope, and child parents in Astrology. So find the link below the video for more information, and keep in mind that you can only enroll until the 18th of January. After that, we are closing the workshop for new participants. So with that being said, let's dive into today's example. Let me share the screen. All right, so we have a horoscope of a boy, very young boy, 1 year old. So basically I will show you what does the child horoscope look like, what you can expect, or how you can approach this if you want to interpret the horoscope of your own child. And generally, of course, this is an educational video, which is helpful if you want to simply understand astrology better, even if you're not a parent, even if you're not trying to, analyze a child's horoscope. You will still learn general astrological valuable techniques. So here we have the horoscope of a boy who we will call Stephen. To keep his privacy, we are using a different name as usual. We have, of course, the permission of the mother. Let's see, first of all, the balance of the astrological elements. I'm constantly repeating how important it is. Basically, it shows you the combination between the elements in the chart, show you the temper of the person and what he's made of, literally, and which are the dominant energies in him, in this person. So in Stephen's case, we have a very interesting combination. We have 3 planets in earth and water signs, and 2 planets, in earth and fire signs. We have 3, and we have 2 planets in the water and air elements. So basically, when you have this combination, 3 planets in 2 elements and 2 planets in the other 2 elements, this is the most balanced case. This is the case when basically the energies are in the most harmonious way. It means that none of the energy is extremely dominant, and at the same time, there isn't something which is missing. And this is always something helpful, which shows that the person may have different, skills or potential or opportunities. Of course, the earth and the fire are stronger than the other, as we mentioned. And in this case, I would say the earth is stronger than the fire because the sun is in an earth sign, and the sun is always more important than the other planets. Plus, here we have a specific situation with the North Node, which we are going to discuss. So, definitely, I can say that the earth element is the dominant in this chart. The fire is also significant, but not so much. The strong earth element, first of all, suggests that the child can be, can need more time, more patience, and also may respond very well to routine stuff. To feel this actually brings him more stability and a sense for security. Also, usually those children and those people are oriented on concrete results. They can be more practical, and they also like to help. The earth energy is a very giving and caring energy, and people with a strong earth element usually they want to support, they want to help others, and even as a child, Stephen may really want to help people. And together with the strong fire element, I think that it will make him feel more significant when he feels capable of helping even something small stuff at home, his mother, even if this is like a play, it may still increase his confidence. Sometimes with the earth element, with the strong earth element, those children may need more support to feel more confident. So it's positive when the mother or the family can support them, can encourage them with words, with teaching them how to improve something or to do it better. Sometimes they may need more time to remember new stuff or to get used to a new environment or circumstances. So give those children more time. And here, of course, it's interesting to know what's the horoscope of the mother, because, for example, if the mother has a very strong fire energy and the child has a dominant earth element, we may understand that there will be some kind of conflict. This mother might be too pushy. She might be quite impatient actually, and at the same time the child might be a little bit slowly or may need more time. Sometimes might be it doesn't mean that there is something wrong with this child, but there are people who are more impulsive, more expressive. They need things to happen fast, and they are generally more active and dynamic people. And there are others who are a little bit phlegmatic, or they need more time to learn something or to be more to get interested. And basically these are the main things which we are going to discuss on the workshop, which I already announced. So anyway, in Stephen's chart, the earth energy suggests that he needs stability, he needs practical results, he needs more support from the family and his mother. At the same time, the fire energy actually supports the earth energy very well, and help the child to take action and to be more confident and to be more independent. Specifically, in Stephen's case, it will take more time before this potential is unlocked. I think that when he is a child, when he's very young, he might be more unconfident. He might be more shy even. Um, First of all, because we have the strong earth element. Also, the ascendant in Cancer usually can make children, more unconfident and shy, literally. Also, the Venus is in first house. Venus brings more softness, and in the horoscope of a boy, this is, well, a more specific position which can make him, more sensitive, more unconfident sometimes, but at the same time, he might be very sweet. Literally, he may look like a really sweet child which you want to kiss, and those kind of cute babies. Um, and he may also be very magnetic, very attractive to even to women someday when he's a grown up. Mm, I guess that also he will be interested in his appearance and how he looks like, because Venus in first house suggests that Venus is squared by Uranus, so we can expect that he might be more extravagant in his appearance. And, for example, he may want to wear more interesting clothes, which for other people may look strange or sometimes even unacceptable. So he may want to shock others with his appearance and even with his outfit when he's a grown up. But when he's still a child and a young person, this the water ascendant, specifically the Cancer ascendant with Venus here, can make him softer, a little bit less confident, and he needs a little bit more support and encouragement. Well, I'm jumping from one thing to another, but as you can see, the chart is leading me. That's why I'm, making the analysis in a different way from the regular, but that's just how, the natural way to interpret the chart. I mean that now I would like to talk about the lunar nodes, because they're important for understanding the fire energy in this chart. Generally, we know that the south node is the one which is showing us the past, the qualities that come natural for the person, and usually, things that, well, or areas where we feel comfortable. The south node is in Aquarius in 8th house. First of all, Aquarius as a sign can be related to, well, being a little bit more distant. Having a more interesting understanding about life or different stuff. It's interesting that sometimes people with a strong Aquarius energy can be very good in communities, surround themselves with people who share similar ideas, but in other cases, those people may also be loners. They might be kind of, isolating themselves because they feel that other people are incapable of understanding them. And that's why they prefer to avoid the superficial communication and just be on their own. 8th house as a house position also brings some kind of detachment from the material world and the reality. So my guess is that when Stephen is very young, and even as a child, he will value too much his personal space, his private space. He may even be a little shy, and he may not feel so comfortable to be part of some kind of group or community. By the way, the aspect between Pluto and the Sun suggests the same. He has a square and a half, which is a 135-degree aspect between the Sun and Pluto. It also suggests that the person doesn't feel so comfortable to be part of a group or a collective of people. So anyway, with the South Node in Aquarius in 8th house, he may tend to isolate himself from the outer world, from the rough material reality. He may have his own, personal stuff that he likes to do, and generally brings some kind of detachment. But as we know, the main lesson, what we should focus on, is our North Node. Usually it takes time, it takes some efforts, it's not so easy, it's not so comfortable, but it's very important. And Stephen's North Node is in Leo, in 2nd house, in conjunction with Mars. First of all, the North Node in Leo suggests that he has to work more on developing his confidence. Finding out what he wants to do, learning to be a single player. and also to be more active. Generally, the fire element of Leo suggests that he needs more activeness, and also the conjunction with Mars. So he has the potential to become more active, initiative, independent, brave, and confident, but it will take some time before this potential is unlocked, or not unlocked, but actually he needs to work for that. So it's not something which is promised to him, it's something that he needs to develop, but he has the potential to do that, and life will probably bring him enough opportunities for that, because that's how usually the North Node works like. And also, the North Node in second house suggests that he needs to learn to be more practical. As we said, eighth house is the detachment. When we are interested in the invisible stuff, usually those children are very intuitive. Sometimes they may even have this inner connection with the invisible world through some kind of dreams or increased intuition. But he needs to work on his practical, approach to life. Generally, the South Node in 8th house may also make him more dependent on others, emotionally, psychologically, and even financially. And what he needs to work on is to develop his own financial independence. Second, North Node in 2nd house in Leo, together with Mars, literally screams that he needs to learn to be independent financially, to take action in this area. It will increase his confidence, and he needs to work for that. So this fire energy will be stronger, after he grows up. Okay, we talked about the nodes. Now, let's go back to the other stuff that we need to discuss as well. The astrological configuration of the whole chart. This configuration is called a splash configuration with conjunctions. Splash configuration with conjunctions. Generally, what we say about the splash configuration is that those people may focus on many things. They may have different interests, they may even have different skills or talents, but it's a little bit more difficult for them to concentrate their energy on something concrete. And the challenge here is that sometimes they may lose their focus because of that, because they're trying to accomplish many things at the same time, or they're just not focused enough on one concrete things in order to develop it and, to, have an advanced expertise in something. Of course, the fact that he has conjunctions is actually positive. He has, conjunction between the moon and Jupiter, and there is a stellium. Let me see. Yeah, he has a stellium between the Sun, Mercury, and Mars. So this actually supports, and helps the person to be capable of focusing more and not completely, wasting efforts on too many things and losing his focus. And of course, those conjunctions will be very important. The moon and Jupiter, and on the other hand, this stellium, the Sun, Mercury, and Mars. So definitely home and family will be a very important topic for him. His birth family might be extremely important. The connection with the mother is also very strong with this position. And one day with women and his partner. And also the material area will be very important. Finances, resources, having a more practical approach towards life as well. yeah, together with the North Node, we can definitely say that he needs to work on his financial independence. Now, let's talk about the moon. Let's talk about the position of the moon because it's extremely important for children. Until the age of 7, we are mostly affected by the sign of our moon. And it also shows our relationship and how we see our mother. First of all, in Stephen's horoscope, the moon is in Libra. Generally, that's a nice sign for the moon, which suggests that the child may see the mother as a friend. Usually, there is a harmonious relationship, mutual understanding. Generally, this is a nice sign position. And usually the mother may treat the child as equal. So there is no, authority positioning or too much orders and rules. Usually the mother respects the child and can accept him as equal, as someone who can, negotiate with her, or at least she explains her motivation. The verbal communication is also important. So generally, that's a very nice sign position. Also, the moon is in fourth house, which is the house which is ruled by the moon naturally. On top of that, the moon rules the ascendant. So the moon is a key planet in this horoscope. Also, we can say that Stephen will need his mother's support. Of course, he is very, very lucky because he has Jupiter in conjunction with the moon, one of the luckiest aspects we can possibly have. First of all, it can bring more success and happiness and achievements and prosperity. Also, it helps the relationship with the mother. And generally, the mother may encourage the child and may help him to become more successful. Usually, with this combination, I would also say that probably his birth family is wealthy and successful. He's living in a nice home, in a harmonious atmosphere with probably everything that he will need. So usually that's a very good indication for a nice childhood environment. The moon has one challenging aspect. Let me see. One challenging aspect with Pluto, which is quite exact. Sometimes this aspect can make the mother more controlling, or at least that's how the child sees the mother. Nowadays, these are sometimes the overprotective mothers who, wants to do the best that they can for their children, but at the same time, they don't understand that they are making their children codependent on them. And especially for a boy, that's a tricky situation. And for Stephen, I see a tendency for, some kind of emotional, psychological dependence on other people. Of course, when he's a child, it means dependence on the mother and the birth family. After that, probably he will be, kind of dependent on women. They will play a major role in his life, with Venus in first house and the moon in fourth house and the south node in eighth house. Generally, we can expect that he will be, women will be important for that. For him. So this Pluto square with the moon can bring some kind of struggles, like power struggles with the mother, or too deep emotional connection. Also, Pluto brings incredibly strong emotional connection with the mother. And keep in mind, in a boy's horoscope or a man's horoscope, sometimes this may bring challenges with finding, a partner, finding a woman who fits or who can compete with his mother. And sometimes it's not consciously, but in some way, I think that he might be idealizing you, of course, when he grows up. And if you don't let him to become independent. And if you don't encourage his development as a man, it might be difficult for him to find a woman, or on a subconscious level, he will search for a woman who looks like you in some way, or who is taking care of him just like you have been doing for him. So here it's very important in this case to encourage him, to support him, but at the same time also to encourage his development as a different person, as an independent person and man. But generally speaking, the moon is in a very positive position. Now, indirectly, the moon has also an opposition with Uranus, because Jupiter has opposition with Uranus, and it also means that indirectly the moon has the same opposition as well. This may bring some level of instability or uncertainty or some kind of changes. So occasionally he may feel like, the world is changing or is not so stable. This might be also related to possible relocation at some point. And even in his childhood, I believe this may happen. The first period, I would say, is, well, approximately when he is 5, 6, 7 years old. This might be a time when the family may move to another place or may even relocate, because that's the time when Venus will be in conjunction with his ascendant according to solar arc directions, and also the moon and Jupiter will be in conjunction with 4th house. Jupiter rules 9th house, so we can talk about some kind of relocation, I would say, when, well, between 5, 7, 8 years, when he's at that age. But anyway, also he has a very interesting aspect configuration, a bisextile. The moon and Jupiter make sextile with his Saturn, and also sextile with Mars, and Mars and Saturn are connected with a trine aspect. So I would say that he will be quite disciplined and organized person, especially when it comes to his work or responsibilities as a grown-up at work and so on. About his family, I think that he will have a very responsible attitude towards you as a mother and other family members as well. The sextile between Saturn and the moon also suggests that his mother might be a quite responsible person. Usually there are some kind of requirements for certain rules, but they're not too suppressing or dogmatic rules. They are just, the ordinary environment, which actually brings more stability for the child. Also, the moon has the sextile with Mars, as we said. Aspect which is very positive, which suggests that, first of all, he may see his mother as a very active, dynamic person, and you may encourage him to be more independent and to take action. Now, keep in mind also that the bisextile, this aspect configuration, shows some kind of talents and skills that the person has. And first of all, those kind of talents and skills may turn into his career. They may bring him money. And in some way, they might be related to, well, skills and talents from the family, from you or another relative, or he may either follow your steps or your career or another family member career direction, or this may also indicate a family business, and he might be part of the business as well. Let me see. Yeah, family business and success coming through those talents that he may have. Okay. Now, in terms of education, Mercury is a very important planet. His Mercury is in Virgo, retrograde, and burned by the Sun. Mercury in Virgo is in a very strong sign position. It's also the ruler of Virgo, which means the ruler of his Sun. Mercury rules third house as well. So this may help him to be more analytical, to pay attention to details, sometimes to be overcritical and judgmental. This is kind of a typical quality for Virgo as well. But he might be more systematic and responsible, and generally this makes the mind very active. Another thing which increases the activeness of his mind is the fact that Mercury is burned by the Sun. When the planet is within less than 3 degrees away from the Sun, it's burned. It means that the qualities of this planet are part of the personality, and in his case we can say that he will be over analytical. He may have also a great potential mentally, intellectually. Because Mercury is retrograde, this may work more on an inner level, so he might be kind of a introverted thinker who finds some solutions or has some ideas when he's on his own. So generally it increases the activeness of the mind incredibly. And I think that he will be quite responsible and systematic and, focused on his education. Because also Mercury rules third house. Mars is part of this stellium as well, as we said, because it makes conjunction with the Sun. It also means that it will make indirect conjunction with Mercury. This may increase, his thinking. Literally, he may think really fast thanks to this aspect. Sometimes he might be, more impulsive in communication. Sometimes those people are too direct, which sometimes make them more harsh verbally when they express themselves. But when it comes to his thinking and his mental potential, this aspect actually is positive. On top of that, also, basically the whole stellium is part of the bisextile. So very interesting potential. And also pay attention that literally all of the planets are connected with different aspects. Look here, so the moon and Jupiter with Pluto, Pluto with Neptune, Neptune with Uranus, Uranus with Venus, Venus with the stellium. The stellium also has connection with the moon and Jupiter. So all of the planets are in some way part of a very big aspect configuration. There isn't a concrete name for this aspect configuration because it's very specific. The aspects are different, but it's always a positive indication when you see so many connections between the planets. For each horoscope, of course, not only in the child's horoscope. So, yeah, very interesting positions. Now, in terms of his communication with the father, the Sun is the most important planet in this case. His Sun, the Sun has one opposition with Neptune. Large orbits, but we still have the opposition. Sometimes this may indicate, some kind of challenges with the father. Sometimes the father may not be there all of the time, or may have some kind of unhealthy behavior, or in other cases it's just that the father is kind of creative person, those type of people who are not so practical and grounded, like usually artists are. The other aspect, we have also a trine between Uranus and the Sun. So this can make, first of all, Stephen very original, very untraditional type of person, very creative with extremely interesting ideas and approach and desire to, revolutionize things, to innovate things. Let's see. Also, the conjunction between Mars and the Sun sometimes may indicate well, that the child feels the anger of the father in some way. It's not necessarily related to, some kind of physical demonstration like violence or something like that, but the child may see or feel this anger in the father in some cases. So yeah, something to be aware of as well. Now, speaking about Uranus, we also need to talk about his career. The career houses are 6th and 10th house. 2nd house is important for the finances as well. And first of all, Stephen has fire signs on the career houses, which suggests that the person needs some level of independence, can be more active when it comes to career and social realization. From one side, Saturn is here on the cusp of his 6th house. Generally, it indicates that the child or the person actually might be very responsible, capable of hard work. Don't forget, Saturn is also part of this P6 house, so very responsible and hardworking. At the same time, he needs to be prepared that it would take more time for him to become successful. Usually, Saturn brings delays, requires more efforts. But as I like to repeat, the best thing about Saturn is that this is also the planet of justice. So if he is hardworking and patient, eventually he will be successful. The Black Moon Lilith is here as well, which suggests that work and also health, by the way, will be important topics in his life. One thing which I also find interesting, the fact that Saturn is in a very close conjunction with the cusp of 6th house. So less than 1 degree from the cusp of 6th house. If the time is absolutely exact, if the time of birth is absolutely exact, usually it may indicate some kind of challenges during the labor of the child, or sometimes, these are children who are born after they were supposed to be born. Or there might have been some kind of health issues as well. If there have been health issues, or if currently there are some kind of health issues, I believe that things will improve after he gets 2 years old, because Saturn will be in conjunction with the cusp of the house for 2 years. And during the same time also the transit Saturn is in the 6th house as well. So I think that after he gets 2 years old, his health will improve and will be better. And generally keep in mind that when Saturn is in the health houses, like in this case, for example, usually those children have some kind of health issues when they are young. But at the same time, especially if Saturn has positive aspects, like in this horoscope, when they are grown-ups, their health actually becomes very stable. So he might have some health issues when he's very young, but eventually I think that his health will become much more stable when he grows up. Let's go back to the career part. I just thought it's important to notice that. Also, we mentioned Uranus in 10th house. Usually this brings the desire to have more traditional career, something more interesting, something more original, certain level of independency. I think that he will feel more comfortable if he works something on his own or he has some level of independence. As we said, generally, I think that with communities and groups, he won't be, well, he won't feel so comfortable, and he will feel better and he will be more successful working more independently. Uranus, of course, can bring modern area for career, including, you know, the IT sector, something more related to technologies as well. But in his case, I also think that the construction business might be a very good area, or something related to real estate, because Saturn is here on the cusp of sixth house. Saturn has an aspect with the moon and with Mars. So something related to construction or real estate, I believe, would be a great fit for him. And also something like a family business or career related to his parents or other relatives as well. But generally, as we said, the chart is very, very interesting. We have multiple aspect configurations. We have a bisextile. And we mentioned about the nodes and how interesting they are in this horoscope. So I think that these are the major things, the most important things. Thank you very much for watching this educational video. And don't forget, if you're interested in learning more about your own child or generally about astrology and child's horoscopes and how to interpret them, and also, as I said, there will be a psychological part included as well. You may join our workshop. The enrollment is open until the 18th of January. The links are below, so you have different options. You may explore them if you're interested to get your own child's horoscope or also a synaptic report between you and your child. These are extremely valuable resources of information. So thank you very much for joining me today. I'll see you in the next episode of how to read the birth chart and make predictions with astrology.